even I am frighteningly too casual about it. All right. Call me a conspiracy theorist or truther. There are many of us that basically prowl YouTube and look for innocent victims and poison their minds with lies. But to show you something here, when we talk about how the Russian hack was fake, and I said it was domestic, okay. Right now we have massive fires in California, in Thousand Oaks. We had a massive shooting down there. We have this huge, terrible fire in Northern California. There's a lot of shit going on right now in the Natural Disaster Department, okay. You would think conspiracy theorists would flock like birds to this, and they usually do, to tell you that it's not a conspiracy or that it is. Now, you go on YouTube, and for the first time ever, you will not find a single video that has been made in the last 3 to 4 days. Every video that they post is at least a month old, all the way down the line. Something is totally and deliberately filtering out any information getting out, and that's partially our fault because they honey trap it, which means what? They know who knows. So when the next event happens, they block you out so you can't say anything. So it takes a lot of extra work to go and find that. Because I assure you, I know Truth by Grace. I know Mental Boost. They're very intelligent. I mean, we've got firemen out there that are talking about this, that have videos that come out within the minutes of these events happening. And if you go on YouTube, you will see apparently Russia has hacked again and has blocked all of the information coming out about these fires. So we don't know if they're real or fake. But I want to ask you, is fake news? Who has the power to do that? Essentially a pseudo internet kill switch. And you know exactly who it is. So right there's your Russian hack. All right, Russia's not doing that. The people that have the power to do that are in this country. Okay, so again, cha-ching, man, it's so funny I'm unemployed because I'd be so fucking rich if I had bet you just a penny every time I told you this shit. And what do? You buy a caramel macchiato and you go back to fucking work. And you ain't even going to have a job soon. After searching and searching, I finally found one video, and it's from a guy who's not even in California. And I think he puts it fucking brilliantly. I mean, you usually have 100 videos pop up the minute one of these things happen, and they've been going on for days, and everything's totally censored. They will not show anything, any footage, and even the news here locally. My dad's like, dude, he doesn't believe in that crap, but he's like, why are they not reporting on these fires in L.A.? They're right near where we used to live. You guys got to figure it out, and it's so funny that when I used to use drugs, people used to say I had denial. You tell me, which one's more dangerous, your denial or my denial? Because I never had any denial like that. But you guys are in full-on denial.
These California a direct attack on every man, woman, and child.
The only video.
Those of you who are thinking, it's not me, screw those Californian idiots. You better pay attention. I'm talking to you. We need first to take a step back and take a look at the esoteric meaning of what's going on here in California if you want to have any chance of understanding what's transpiring here. Because when you look at the headlines and the talking points that are coming out of the media, chiefly the headlines, are describing paradise lost, Paradise, California, right? A paradise destroyed. This is the twilight language that's being used around this event. It's being pushed into the collective consciousness. There are obvious esoteric implications here. The fires have turned paradise into a burning inferno. They have rendered heaven into hell. This is a classic Luciferian inversion, turning the truth upside down. It is, after all, the ultimate goal of the Luciferian cryptocracy to wholly corrupt God's creation. And so it gives them a thrill, genuinely, to be responsible for and print and see headlines like that from the Washington Post. Paradise destroyed. It's the same thrill that they get when another Luciferian inversion, like global warming, as we enter a new grand solar minimum. They mock the public with these. But this goes further, and in fact deeper. In this cult of global warming, this new religion that they've concocted, as I've covered here for the Ice Age Farmer podcast, where CO2 is literally taking us to our doom. It is our original sin of humanity. We all exhale it. By virtue of existence, then, we are fallen. It's the same concept. But now, as a result of this original sin, we see it translating into the loss of paradise. This is the fall from grace that they are creating in a climate change world. They're escalating the rhetoric. So from a semiotic standpoint, they're escalating there too, right? So from my perspective, between the symbolism, the predictive programming around this, right? We've seen the Californian governor say this is the new normal. In fact, we've seen that from Cal Fire on every brochure they hand out. You've seen it on the back of regional magazines, local magazines. You can't go anywhere and not read about the wildfires and the new normal. So again, between the symbolism, that predictive programming, this has all of the fingerprints of a deep state false flag all over it. I'm not going to talk then about who or how Antifa arsonists versus PG&E, Rothschilds control, how the forests have been mismanaged because of liberal policies. Those are the wrong conversations, folks, to be having right now.
Right.
Because the reality is that however these fires were started, the real attack is what's coming now, and what is keeping people from being prepared for the grand solar minimum and the times ahead. The media is pouring out a perfect salad of mind control, a trauma-based sort of emotional onslaught. People are dying, trapped in their cars, and it's because of climate change. It's the same sort of thing we saw a couple weeks ago when they introduced, we're all going to die because of climate change after the IPCC's report. And in fact, just as they had to double down on Al-Qaeda and introduce ISIS after it sort of lost its effect on the public, they've now introduced new greenhouse gases. But I digress. They have to ratchet up the rhetoric. That's even Al Gore's exact words. We torqued up the language here. So they're making this stuff up, they're lying, and in this latest emotional onslaught, because of the California fires, the lives that have been lost, the terrible stories that they are featuring, people in their cars, as I mentioned, well, Wired comes out and immediately links it to climate change. There are calls throughout the media to blame and censor and terminate climate deniers, quote unquote. There are calls to terminate Trump and blaming him for the wildfires, just as he was blamed for the hurricane. And just as after a mass shooting come the calls for gun control, so too here are there calls for action to stop climate change. It's a meaningless proposition, but that doesn't keep them from employing it. Wired even closes their piece by saying, this is the world now. Mass shootings and mass wildfires. Linking the two, it's amazing, folks. And so, especially with the celebrity homes in Malibu, Bruce Jenner and whatnot burning home, expect these folks to go hardcore climate activist. There will be a renewed call now for deniers to be censored. The Kardashians will go on a campaign blaming Trump for their house burning down. Watch. Here it comes. It's already started on Twitter. Expect to see these renewed calls for censorship. And because now lives have so recently been lost, and the future of humanity, after all, depends on it, according to the IPCC's torqued up language, expect to see this emotion fuel. It's going to be injected and fuel as cover for the censorship to actually now come down. It's going to actually take place.
Right.
It's just like the gun control narrative. It's the same script, folks.
Not in Germany.
And it is indeed what they have planned since the good old days at the Club of Rome. Meanwhile, solar physicists like Dr. Zarkova are giving talks trying to raise awareness, saying we need to brace immediately for global cooling because of a drop in the sun's output, that governments need to account for crop failures and the resulting coming food scarcity. But you don't see that in the news. No, the headlines haven't quite mentioned her at all, ever since her 2015 study being vehemently denied across many media, saying, no, the world is not heading for a new ice age. Do watch her presentation from last month if you have not already. It is outstanding, and it describes the science behind the natural cycles that we are experiencing now that I'm talking about.
Well, I got a job. I told you I would. I'm working at a Chinese sweatshop. Yeah, and you're all the employees. So I told you so, didn't I? I told you so. Let me see. 2011.
I can't call his name. Who? No, not Wolfowitz.
Wolfowitz, yeah.
Wolfowitz.
Hold your point, mister. We got to go to a top of the hour break. That's the kind of information that I wanted you to give us.
Carolina High School were injured today when a chemistry experiment sparked
That's
an
great.
explosion.
That's good.
Hazmat crews are still on the scene. A nurse who worked for Michael Jackson took the
There's so
stand
many
at the
people
trial
who
of
don't know
Dr.
that.
Conrad Murray today. Sherilyn Lee testified.
And they don't know it because the media is bought and paid for.
Surgical anesthetic.
This is a hell of a betrayal of the American people when you will not tell them the truth because you're afraid that if you tell the truth, your bosses will take your job from you. That's a hell of a thing. You don't have a democracy when you don't have a free press.
Go to CNN.com.
You're all slaves, and you love it. So you deserve what you get, the erosion of your democracy. You'll soon be the laughing stock of the world.
That works out to less than 50 cents a
It's a
roll.
damn shame. That's why the children
So come in.
are occupying space in New York, in Boston, in Washington, in Chicago, in San Francisco, and other cities. Why? Because they're not looking to you as a source of information for them. Look how long it took you all to talk about what was going on in New York. It took you 2 weeks because the same people that controlled the banks controlled the media. You all know it, but you're afraid to say it. But God put it on Farrakhan to say it for you. And maybe one day you'll get some courage to stand up and give America free media, a real free fourth estate. But right now, you ain't even worth the time of day.
Local news headlines, traffic and weather up next on WVON.
I'm glad. Hell, I'm not hiding nothing. You need somebody to tell the truth.
That's right.
You need somebody that's not afraid to die for the truth that you could be made free. Because you're not free. And you don't really know what it means to really be a free white person, a free black person, a free Mexican, a free Arab. If you're afraid to tell the truth, what future does your children have in a society where truth is brushed to the curb? I thank God for the young man.
Thank you. I might be white, but I gotta back that shit up, man. Because when you see truth, you see truth.
That's the man that's freeing the whole planet. Where Zbigniew Brzezinski could say, yesterday it was easier to control 1 million people than to kill 1 million people. Then now he says it's easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people because the genie is out of the box, the cat is out of the bag, the people all over the world are waking up. And you need to wake up and free America. Then you'll have a future and your children will have a future. But if you're afraid for what? You're going to die anyway. Where can you run to escape death?
Ma'am?
If you love America, then fight for America to be free.
Yeah, I know. It's probably nothing.
Nothing. something.
Yes,
Shouldn't
sir.
I don't know, like...
I'm not in the best mood.
I know you're.
Great.